I started to observe that everyone's just so busy. I don't know what they're busy doing, but they just seem busy.
Welcome to the Going North podcast, where you will be encouraged, informed, and empowered to embrace your dreams and advance in life through authorship. I'm your host, best-selling author, certified leadership trainer, and book enthusiast Dom Brightman. Be sure to check out the goods and services from every guest, as well as some of the books from yours truly, the host. Now let the fun begin. And today on the Going North podcast, we bring you some super special, awesome humans from around the globe. Today is no different. It's been a while since we had a guest from the UK on this podcast today, and today is going to be, you're going to be in for a special treat. My goodness, you're going to be in for a special treat. We probably chatted for like a good 10 minutes, and 8 of those minutes was probably just laughing at ourselves, making each other laugh. And you should definitely check out our podcast too, because this is going to be a host-to-host special, because this fabulous guest right here was a once-upon-a-time nurse, clinical hypnotherapist, and a writer who provides an eclectic blend of clinical and spiritual expertise in her specialist subjects of positive psychology, spirituality, and end of life. So let's give it up for the wonderful lady who brings sunshine to my day as well as countless others, the one, the only Shelley Knight. How are you today, ma'am?
I am brilliant. Thank you very much for having me. I'm going to try and behave.
Oh, come on. You already know you ain't going to behave.
No, I know, but I thought the listeners wanted to hear that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I enjoy just everything about you right now.
Oh, bless you. You're too kind.
Like, if we were more local, I'd probably have to find you and, like, leave, like, a bunny with chocolate in front of your door or something.
Yeah, that would work. Absolutely. Bosh, I'm in.
Now, granted, I call myself chocolate from every now and then, so I guess I'd have to put a bunny suit on, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh, I quite like that. You know, ready for Easter. Beautiful.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's right, with all
Yeah.
the bunnies. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. But the beautiful thing about bunnies is that they're furry, and the beautiful thing about you is that I'm sure there's stuff that I missed. So mind filling in the magical listener of who is the fabulous, sensational Shelley?
Do you want it right back from the start before all the writing stuff?
Oh, sure.
So, way back when, once upon a time, as the story goes, I was a medical nurse for many, many years. And it's an interesting world of medicine. And I was kind of bumbling along through life. And then, now for the serious part, my beautiful dad died suddenly in 2005. And I stuck to nursing, but this is where I started to go into end of life nursing. So my dad died suddenly. And so then I found myself nursing people at the end of the life where you have that chance to say goodbye. And it was kind of a healing process for me, really. And so I carried on nursing for many years. I was a chemotherapy nurse. And then life just kept throwing these curveballs directly at my head, trying to polish me off, Dom. And I started to have fertility issues. So I actually took a career break rather than a breakdown. And I started to go into like all the spiritual things, or the hocus pocus, as my family like to call it. And I studied the very non-medical world of kind of like the energy healing, meditation, mindfulness, NLP, even herbalism and dream therapy, you name it, I tried it. And I did return to nursing, but I was kind of a different person then. I knew it was more than the physical body. And then, I don't know, God, the universe, someone thought, hang on, she needs a few more curveballs lobbing at her head. So I sort of carried on nursing, but then went into like the clinical hypnotherapy because I was fascinated with like mindsets and positive psychology and things like that. And still another curveball came, and we were told with our last pregnancy that we had to terminate our beautiful bump. And you know this, but I'm quite feisty. So despite the medical opinion saying you need to terminate now, I was like, no, I'm not. I'm quite old and wrinkly. This is my last chance. So we went ahead with the pregnancy, and she's now 5 and a little earth angel. And it was from there another turning point, really. And that's when I started to write my book. So I guess I could have done a career in dodgeball, the amount of curveballs that was lobbed at me, but I actually went down the writing route. So I started to write my book, Positive Changes, a Self-Kick book. And it's a real mixed bag. It sort of draws on what I learned about living an authentic life from the dying patients. It's old blogs, it's personal development tools. It's kind of conflicting because I don't believe there's one way to change your life. It's just my journey. So sometimes I'll say, there's one called Whoa Nelly, and that tells you to like slow down, what's going on in your life. Others will be self-kick, like get up. And yeah, it's just a real mishmash, because when I was pregnant and told to terminate, it's probably the hardest psychological journey that I had to go through, but I've got like 100% success rate. So I carried on. So Positive Change is a self-kick book. It's like loads of tools, the nursing, the clinical, the spiritual, and everything in between. So yeah, it's quite a journey. I've gone from like, clinical side, and I've had like real life-changing events, bits of plot twists, if you will, and then kind of come out the other side and then wrote my book. And the book's not miserable. I know it was written during like the hardest psychological journey, but it doesn't actually touch on my pregnancy in there. It's just the tools I used to get through, like meditation, journaling, visualization, and as I said, like the regrets of the dying, like how to live your life. So yeah, it's got lots in there because I'm just really passionate, having been there and had that semicolon moment where you think, do I end my life story now, or do I find the strength to carry on? And it's to help people who are stuck or lost, just to kind of reassure them that, life can go on.
That's right. It goes on indeed. I'm surprised you said dodgeball instead of kickball.
Oh, wow. That's where it's all been going wrong, Dom. I was wondering why I wasn't selling many books. Now I know. Oh, a light bulb moment.
Sweet. We live for those too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not a negative book. It's a positive book. And it's for those that, are going through their own sticky times.
That's right. Stickier than honeybee even. Heck, even stickier than glue. Heck, maybe even
more
stickier
like glue,
than twigs.
not sweet like honey.
Ah.
I had to translate that in my head and then I got it. It's like the bad dad joke, isn't he? What's brown and stick like? And I'm like, I know this. It's a stick.
Yeah, those are always in abundance here too, especially the dad jokes. I need to make a scroll of all of them.
Or not, don't.
You're right. We can always scroll through some online, all right?
Yeah. There's too many dad jokes in the world, Dom. Too many.
Darn it. But there's not enough Shelley. And the good news is, what I love about your book is that it's a nice, easy read where each chapter is about a good page or two. You broke it down so anyone can pick it up and read just about any chapter at any time.
It's exactly that. I started to observe that everyone's just so busy. I don't know what they're busy doing, but they just seem busy. And I just thought, they're not going to read like a 13-page chapter. And so it is like, you'll go to one of the titles and you can read it before your bus comes. You can, do it till your toast pops up. And it's just little snippets because everyone just seems so busy doing rather than being. So that was the method in the madness, if you will.
Yes, indeed. And I'm surprised you haven't done an audiobook for it yet.
Well, I've got a podcast, and that's my gesture of an audiobook. I don't think anyone would like to hear my voice really that much, read an entire, like 300 something pages. You never know. There's some sick people out there in the world.
In this case, I'll be one of them. But that's a whole nother story.
I'm just going to write down tick, 1 book sold. Yeah, that was the idea behind the podcast, like to pull out the pain points and the themes, sort of like the search for happiness on who am I, self-love, forgiveness. and do it that way, like one theme at a time. But yeah, I don't know about a whole audiobook. It's quite long.
Hey, it's all good. Ain't nothing wrong with long. Some folks like it long.
Like The War and Peace of Positive Changes, like a remake of Tolstoy.
It'll be a long kick in the right direction.
It would, wouldn't it?
But yes, indeed, though. Yes, indeed. And sorry for your loss, because that's something that really everyone has to deal with at one point or another, and not everybody comes out the same way for the better. And it sounds like you actually was able to make that proper shift to actually become more fulfilled, or at least seek to get more fulfillment out of your life.
Yeah, so it wasn't a quick process. It probably took me a good 12 years. And in the podcast episode, Forgiveness, a lot of that is me talking about my dad's death and the fact it took me a good 12 years to really get through the grief journey. And I had to forgive myself because I thought, really? Because my dad used to say, life goes on. And that's what my branding is like now on social media. It's like Shelley F. Knight, life goes on. But it took me 12 years to understand what my dad was saying. And I had to forgive myself that it really wasn't that obvious. But now I work a lot with people who are grieving. And so I think that's kind of part of my life purpose. So yeah, whilst I was a bit slow with my own grief, where there is no time frame on grief, I've kind of found a meaning in my dad's death that I help others. I know it's not always, the quickest process, but there's kind of a collateral beauty that there's many great lessons in there as well.
Yes, indeed. So many lessons learned. It's like giving your brain a six-pack with all the lessons learned.
Yeah, and I was a bit slow, but I think that's okay. I think whenever we go through anything in life, any trauma, any loss, the lessons are probably dealt to us at the time, but we might not realize for a good few years, in my case, a decade or so. And that's life, isn't it? I think that you come here for a reason and you have these life lessons. And if you're a bit like me, you don't quite get the life lesson, it'll just keep coming back to you in many, many ways. Like my dad died, I didn't quite get that I was meant to deal with loss. So then maybe that's why I had my fertility problems. Like, Shelley, you really need to learn about love and loss. And, maybe I just was a bit simple and I just had to keep having these curveballs of love and loss thrown at me.
Yeah, it's true indeed. It's kind of like that classic example of the universe hitting you with the 2x4 and just patting it in its hand, waiting to hit you with it if you don't get the lesson the first time.
Yeah, that's me. It is. And I said, I've worked a lot on self-forgiveness about it because I just think, I believe in timing. I think timing is like absolutely key and I'm very impatient. But I'm thinking like if I'd have learned the lesson of my, losing my dad and my fertility things earlier when I was younger, I don't think life would be so brilliant now. Because you believe it or not, I'm quite mature and maybe mature in years, not attitude. But it wouldn't have worked if I'd learned the lesson at the time. I think I had to be like, created all my children, tried the nursing, tried many things. And now I'm ready to sort of like help others. I've been through a lot. I've matured in some ways. And I think timing is key.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it's so true about the timing because, like yourself, it takes a little longer for others to go through certain things like grief because there's really no true time limit on that. That's something self-paced that everyone has to deal with because they always have those stages of grief that folks mention, but it's like, all right, these stages, they're not happening in this exact
They're
order for
not.
me or that person.
Yeah, I mean, when I did my nursing degree, it was all very much about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and her 5 stages of grief, But actually, no. I mean, it's not a linear process. You don't go through plonkety, plonkety, plonk. And actually, her research was on interviews with those who were dying. It's like how they felt about their loss and imminent death. It's not actually about how you feel when someone dies. And it kind of got misconstrued over the years. But I've worked in end of life for years and I've been through my own losses, like I said. And it's not linear. It looks more like a drop bowl of spaghetti, if I'm quite honest, the emotions you get with grief. It's just messy. And there's a rare few who go from, the death into, feel like got a second chance at life, or there's a relief if you've been a carer for years. There are a few like that. But generally it's a mucky game. And sometimes you think you're okay, and then grief's a bit like a ninja, and it will just tiptoe up on you and attack. It's a really, complex thing.
So that explains it. So it originally was lessons from the dying, not about actually going through the grief of losing someone.
Yeah, no, it was the terminally ill that she worked with for her book on death and dying, and then people just sort of took it over the years. But it wasn't ever about that. It was about how people were feeling about their own mortality.
The regret moments. The ones that need to be
Yeah,
avoided.
yeah. But regrets are great learning. I mean, I speak about regrets in my book because I worked with the dying for many years, and it's a brilliant way really to learn about how to live your life from those who don't have the time to make the most of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, the poignancy of their words, the wisdom that they bestow upon you, just the most amazing job in the world. And the regrets of the dying, whether they're young, old, whatever, there's a real sense of everyone's not really that different. We all kind of have the same regrets and the same wishes, and they're really simple things. I mean, what I learned was like they always wanted to, these are the people that were dying that I was working with, they always wanted us to know that you just have to be happier in life. I mean, you have to allow yourself to be happier. That a lot of people play down their own happiness. Like, okay, some of it's generational, but people used to marry because it was the done thing, or they would do a job because their parents said, you're going to inherit my business. You're not being happy for you, you're being happy as dictated by someone else. So yeah, be happier. And it's also about connection, like connect something bigger than yourself. Don't be self-centered, and that might be, I don't know, volunteering in your community. It might be God, whatever you call it. Speaking your truth was another one, which I'm very good at, Dom. But it is like, it's not to say what you say is true, but it's, what's true, what's important to you. Tell people that. Do more of what you love, which I do, which is why I'm so chatty and on podcasts. But it's not about the money, it's not about the work. No one ever said to me, "Oh, Shelley, could you get me my designer wallet and those shoes?" It was always like, can you find that person that I wronged all those years ago? And it is just really, I guess the last thing would be kind of like live your life, not someone else's version of it. It's very, very similar to the be happier. But yeah, you have to live your life for you, give it your best shot. And so they're quite simple, really, aren't they? And we probably think we do it anyway, but yeah, the regrets in life could be so easily avoided, I think.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that because a lot of folks are sold on this dream of get a bunch of things, and even though you can't carry everything to the graveyard, you can still even have your family pay for U-Haul truck to join the darn
Yeah.
funeral procession, even though that still ain't gonna work. At the end of the day, that
Yeah.
isn't gonna matter.
No, and it doesn't, don't get me wrong. They say money isn't everything. I'd like to find that out for myself. you know, Even with working with the dying, it's like, I wouldn't mind trying this whole millionaire mind thing. And if it's not for me, that's fine. But, obviously, even though I know it's not going to make me happy, I'd like to have a jolly good try, Dom. But, I am more than like, that make of clothes, that brand of car and things like that.
Heck
I just
yeah,
like to try it.
ain't nothing wrong with trying because a couple folks on this podcast in the past mentioned how they became millionaires, and as soon as they became millionaires, they're like, hey, so they're asking their significant others like, hey, so do you feel any different? Like, nope. It's like, yeah, it doesn't bring happiness, but it sure as heck will put you in a better place to be unhappy in, if that's the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, see, that's what I wouldn't mind. No, I don't think it makes you happier. I'm a great believer that you have to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. And so it's like, if you have a house now, you think, oh, but I'll be happy when I've got a bigger car or a bigger house or, I don't know, bigger workforce, whatever you want to be bigger. And you're like, but it's still the same thing, isn't it, really? It's just a bigger version, along with your ego, which is probably bigger as well, I suspect.
Yeah, got to keep that thing. I'm not sure if it's anorexic or fat. I'm not sure which one's the. I know they're both bad. I'm not sure which one's the better version for the ego. Don't want the ego to be fit, that's for sure.
No. But we are very ego-led, aren't we? We always want this sort of like status. And it's just like, well, what if you got the status but no one's watching? What's it all about?
Yeah, unless it's the wristwatch that's watching.
Yeah, who needs a wristwatch? You just look on your phone, don't you? I'm so down with the kids. Who needs a watch?
Yep, that's true too. It's funny enough, I have a watch. I can still tell the time on it, thank God. But most times, if I need the time, I'm going to look at my phone first.
You do, yeah.
So I'd like to get your thoughts on, for those who are on the outside looking in, of us positive people, on how it really is from day to day, when they think we're happy all the time and they think we never have a bad day at all, when at the end of the day it's just like, nope, you just don't see it.
Yeah, I am human. I'm not a robot. Yeah, there are bad days. You could ask my husband, he'll vouch for that. Yeah, I just think that, every day we make choices, whether it's to have tea or coffee, good day or bad day, and really it's going to take the same amount of time and energy. So I do try and choose positive. But yeah, there are days when I have like a duvet day, or, you're thrashing out posts on social media and then you get no interaction. You're thinking, why do I bother? And the kids might get ill, and you just, obviously had a bit of a fertility journey. So I get very precious about my children. At the moment, we've got a poorly dog. I'm less precious about the dog, if I'm honest, but still concerned. So yeah, because life still throws things at me, I'd love to say that I've got a pet unicorn and we go out for little trots every day and glitter comes out. But it's not a true story. I've got a cockapoo that eats socks. I'm not really living the dream. So yeah, I have bad days. I'm human. And people said to me, actually, because you reach out to people during like certain times. So I said to someone the other day, like, how are you coping with things? And they did, they didn't do the awfully English thing going, I'm fine. They actually said, I'm struggling. Don't like being alone with my thoughts. And they just said at the end, like, but it's okay for you because you're always positive. And I was like, do you know what? Just because I'm out there writing books and podcasts and positive changes doesn't mean I don't have bad days, doesn't mean you know my story, doesn't mean you know me. Because I think even the most positive person, whether it's 1 minute a day or a whole day, you have to have down days. And I totally want to give into that emotion when it comes up. I'm all for authenticity. And if that's sort of crying and doing snot bubbles, then bring it on.
Oh, man.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you're just carrying all the time, go like just handing my way through life, Dom, I think I'd drive myself mad, let alone my family. Like someone's died and something's wrong and someone's not well. If you just went, oh, jolly hockey sticks, come on, let's do this. It's just not authentic, is it? So yeah, I have bad days. I just would give into it on that day, but then I don't take a whole holiday and stay there for 2 weeks, in the misery. I sort of dip in, acknowledge it, and then move on.
Amen to that, because it's so true. I mean, like, no matter how positive someone can be, we're all still a human. And we don't have to, in your words, take a 2-week holiday to be in misery over it.
Yeah, but you have to be human, don't you? And I drive my eldest son and my husband mad. But I thought this was quite deep, Dom, because it was very early in the morning, and I think this is where I have my greatest light bulb moments. And I said, I'm just going to truly live my life how I want. And this is kind of around the time where I was leaving nursing, which I did last year, and going full on spiritual writing career. And I said, realistically, I've got more years behind me than I have in front of me. So I'm just going to go out on a high. And they was like, oh my God, that's really macabre, you miserable cow. But I just think, well, realistically, I'm 46. So I probably have got more years behind me. I'm certainly middle age, if not beyond that. So I just think I'm just going to have a blast. Do you know what I mean? It took me a good 40 years to like and accept myself. I know I'm Marmite. You either love me or hate me. But I like me. And that's a real work in progress. So yeah, bring it on.
There you go. And the good news is 46 isn't even old, to be honest. Funny enough, guy by the name of John Maxwell, he's 73, and he originally thought he was going to retire at 60, but when he got closer and closer to that day when he told everybody he was going to retire at 60, he figured, you know what? I still got more to give, and he decided to keep going. And he's still rocking the stage, even in the best shape of his life, performance wise, at 73. So he's still got a lot left in the tank.
See, and I think that's beautiful because, like, when I was a medical nurse before I went into chemotherapy and end of life, I used to have like the older generations as my patients, and that life experience and those stories just like, make your heart swell, don't they? To have that wisdom all in one little body. Just amazing. So use it. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And besides, a lot of folks, especially ladies, are making 50 the new 30. So you're a-okay.
Oh, I feel possibly mature now. Oh, got 4 years. Okay.
It's like, yeah, the classic. No one takes you serious till you're 30. It's like, all right, 50 is the new 30. Wait. No.
I just think I'm aging. I am growing up. And, like when I'm with my people that are grieving and when I worked in end of life and things like that, it's just, I don't know, it's just like heartwarming, it makes you feel alive, you have that purpose. And I am totally there and present. But when I see people stuck in life and they don't want to move forward, and when I talk about my own things like, like my miscarriages, my dad dying, all things like that, you have to try and see the light in things. Do you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I still carry like wounds from all the things that happen, but I always think like, when there's cracks in things and wounds, it's where the light gets in. You have to allow the light into your life. So I do laugh a lot, and I'm not belittling what I've been through, but there's always a lightness, even if it's not funny. And that's just who I am as well. Like when I'm doing my podcast, I think, I should be just so and really succinct. But I was interviewing a lady earlier and I went, oh my God, I think I'm in love with you, because she was just so inspirational. And that's who I am. I'm very passionate about, the human spirit, people sharing stories. And I do laugh and do snot bubbles, Dom. It's just the girl I am. Not a lady, obviously, because I've got snot bubbles, but that's the girl I am.
Oh, no, I'm still a lady. Yeah, you still win in my book.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A great bottle of sunshine, or should I say a giant ray of sunshine.
Oh.
In this case, Shelley Shine.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to write that down. That's a good brand.
There you go, Shelley Shine. That's right. Makes you
Sounds
come
a bit
out of your shell.
Sounds a bit like a cleaning product, doesn't it, when you say it sometimes? Shelley Shine, like you're going to polish the car with it or something.
There you go, especially if the car is red.
Yeah. I could have my whole line of products, t-shirts and cleaning products.
Sweet. Alrighty. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, since this ain't your first podcast rodeo and you've been on a couple podcasts so far, is there a question that you wish more interviewers and hosts and folks like myself would ask you when you're doing these interviews?
No, lots of people ask about, it kind of goes back to your question about why you're always so positive. And again, it's like this real twist that's gone through my life, that I've gone from the clinical and the medical and the logical into like the spiritual. And I do have like a spiritual practice to keep me grounded, so I'm not spacey and crazy. It's not always working, obviously. But I start the day with yoga with my family, and I do like a little oracle card reading. I do gratitude. I journal quite a lot as well, as if I don't do enough writing, Dom. And then I end each day with a meditation. And I just think it's really good, a bit like the regrets of the dying, that you have to connect to something, whether it's yourself or universe, Allah, source, whatever you call it. I just think we always have to have a sense of connection. So that's kind of my spiritual side. But no, people kind of know about me with my journey through like grief, my positive changes. And then my podcast is quite new, but yeah, it's out there. And I just love it because, well, I'm an only child, so I was quite happy with the solo show of season 1, because I'm quite used to talking to myself. But we now started season 2, which is the guests. And it's just, life affirming. It's brilliant because people are coming on with their own positive changes. Because you might read my book and think, that's very nice, Shelley, well done, love. Or not, I don't know. But when you hear people coming on and sharing the things they've been through, it just makes it real. Do you know, it's not my story through my dad dying or my patients dying. It's other people, you know, and the stories are so varied as well. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, really. It's a big nutshell, though, isn't it?
But yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's great that you do yoga with the family. I'm pretty sure that actually gets more quality time out for togetherness, especially during the whole CV nonsense happening around the whole world.
Yeah, and it's really important to me because, as I said, I didn't have the easiest fertility journey. And I think when people know you have 4 children, they think you're, you know, you have no problem with fertility. When actually I would have liked about 7 children, but obviously it wasn't meant for this lifetime. So my family are really precious because it hasn't been an easy journey. And so I love moments like that. And I'm quite old fashioned. Like, I know I'm quite jovial, but I'm quite old, quite crone-like, really. And I do still like everyone to have mealtime together, which is why I'm really happy in, you know, this present climate, because, you know, we have no choice. We're having like breakfast together. But even when life was normal, as we could say, I don't know, I just always have dinner with my family. You know, how's your day gone? What was good? What was bad? You know, what did you learn today? And I just love that sense of connection to my family.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The golden link is complete.
Yeah. I just think, like, you know, sometimes they tell you things and you're like, what on earth? But I just think it's really important that we listen to our children. You know, when they tell us the little things when they're little, I think that correlates to when they tell us the big things when they're bigger. So I think if we're not listening to these small little worries, then we're not going to, you know, be heard when they're bigger. So I just think, yeah, it's kind of lovely, that connection.
Oh, yes, indeed. Especially when they're extra young and extra little because they don't have any filters yet.
No, but I don't have one now. Mine fell out about the age of 30. So it may just be genetic, I'm not sure, but no. Because I know I don't really have a filter, and you know, because one of my things from the dying patients was sort of like, speak your truth. And as I said, like, you know, 46 years gone, to skip to the end, love. And that's how I talk, you know. Obviously there's moments where I do try and apply a filter, but as you say, the children don't have a filter, do they? And I love that. I do love that. It reminds me of the old Jim Carrey film, Liar, Liar, where he can't lie. And I think that's just my family. Why is he so much food in his trolley? Why is that man wearing that? Why is her hair like that? You know. And my daughter, she's really open, because I talk really openly around death. And my next book's about death and the grief recovery process. And I love the fact my kids are really open around death, because that's how I was raised by my grandparents. My parents talk really openly about the only certainty in life. So my daughter, I mean, I'm joking that, I'm not even joking, but I say I've got more years behind me than I have in front of me. But then my daughter will say to me, she just started crying a few weeks ago. And I was like, what's the matter? And she's 5, just put it in time context. She goes, I'm just really sad that you're not going to be around when I'm 10. And I was like, oh, where am I going to be? She goes, oh, you'll be dead.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, oh. And then she goes, yeah, and Harrison, that's our eldest, he's really sad too, because you won't be there for his 18th. That's the same year. And I'm like, wow. But I love the fact that there is no filter and they talk openly about death and things like that. Part of me thinks I've done something right, Dom. Maybe not. But it is our only certainty. I just want people to talk more about, you know, mental health, dying, grief, loss. Just talk more generally, I think.
Yeah, and I guess in a way of that advice of really living like it's your last day on earth and actually really doing that really puts you in that state of mind to be able to have the comfort level to talk about that. And I hope, hopefully the kids are wrong. Hopefully that 5 gets a 0 in front of it or behind it.
Oh,
So that
that'd
way
be
you
nice.
have an extra 50.
Yeah, that means I'd have more years in front of me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it should be.
I'll let you know, whether it's from this earth or from another dimension. I'll let you know.
Sweet. All right. A guardian angel named Shelley awaits me in a few decades. Hooray.
At least I know where my career's going.
That's right. It's going north.
Great name for a podcast. That'd be quite some podcast if I came back, wouldn't it? That's niche, isn't it? That's seriously niche.
It's like, yeah, all you NDE experts, you near death experience experts. Nah, this is the DE. This is the death experience. Like, all right.
Yeah, drop the N.
Yeah, exactly.
N for North. North death experience.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking with this guardian angel right here, and she has a mic.
That'd be great when it all mic'd up, ready to go. It's only a matter of time. That'd be my third book.
Yay, a hat trick. All right. I like where this is going. I like where this is going indeed. Well, it's fabulous that you got a book upcoming on as well as the grief process and the dying process, since you're basically an expert on that at this point with your own life and being around those folks at their deathbed.
Yeah, so even before I nursed, I was still in the medical field, worked in a doctor's surgery and care homes and places like that. So I've been like in the medical field like 30 years. And I say, as I've gone through my life and had these curveballs and life lessons thrown at me, kickballs thrown at me, kicked at me, I've learned so much. And it's the nursing, it's my own losses, it's the evidence I've had and things like that. And it just kind of consolidating it all together, the clinical and the spiritual, but as a practical tool, to help people go through the grief process. That's my plan, because, I've got 30 years of this stuff in my head. And, and in 30 years, obviously I've seen a lot of deaths, not just my own, but in a career of it. And I just think, it's almost like a duty to share about, what happens to the body physically, what happens to it spiritually, why grief hurts so much, why sometimes it's so quick, just loads of things just all coming together in a book. It makes it sound like I've finished it. I haven't. It's a work in progress like myself. But yeah, it's coming together.
That's right. Almost like peanut butter and jam. Oh, yeah.
See, that's still wrong here in the UK. That's still not a thing.
All right. Yeah, because I was interviewing, or at least she was interviewing me last year, and made the same reference. She was like, oh, nope, we don't call it jelly, or call it jam. I'm like, all right. And we still don't like peanut butter and jelly. Like, oh, okay. All right.
No, it's true. I've tried it. I worked in America one summer. You call it Camp America, don't you? And I worked there once, and I thought, oh, yeah, when in Rome, or when in America, technically. And I was like, no, just no. It's like 2 meals in one.
Still not a fan, are you?
Yeah, I'm a teetotaler, but I should imagine that peanut butter and jam came about like from drunken munches. Is there any way I can think it happened? Do you know the origins of it? How did it come about? Did someone just was making, peanut butter for one child, jam for the other, and they fell? And it sort of went together? How did it come about?
You know what? That's a darn good question.
Yeah. So I've got insomnia at the moment. So these are the kind of things that come to me at 3 a.m.
Oh man. Oh man, indeed. Well, hey, could be worse thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And worse curiosities.
Yeah. And I'm not a cat, so that's pretty safe because I am quite a curious soul.
Oh, meow.
Yeah. I am actually going to Google PJ and jam. Or jelly. It's jelly, isn't it? Now, what do you call it? PB?
Oh yeah, PBJ. So yeah, type in PB and J or PBJ, and then it'll probably pop up, kind of like a Jack in the Box.
They were scary childhood toys right there, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why on earth you go through all of that? And all those sort of soothing practices, and then you give them a Jack in the Box. Is it? Yeah, you're just like, why did you go from all that comforting? Is it payback for a bad labour? Why would you do that? It's another one of those insomnia thoughts I have, Dom. I'm just thinking aloud now.
It's even worse when you're an adult and there's another version where it's a boxing glove in there and it punches you unconscious.
Oh, I've not been there.
Okay, that's good. All right, good. Good with 5 O's. Well, coming down to the question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2020 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
It probably would just be what I said about regrets of the dying, just like live your life for you. Do you know what I mean? Give yourself permission to live. Because we always like seek the permission of our peers and the teachers and the parents, and it's not their life. So it'd always have to be, just live your life. Where does your heart go in those moments of silence? Just follow your heart. Because I don't know, you come into life, don't you? And you're given a name that you didn't choose, and you go to a school you didn't choose, and you're always given things to accept. And I think when you get to your teenage years, probably your 30s, you then start to question, like, actually, I don't know if this is who I am. So yeah, my younger self, I'd just be like, give yourself permission to live your life, not someone else's version of it.
Ah, beautiful right there. There's only one Shelley Knight. Yes,
Some people
indeed.
will be thinking, thank goodness, but
Aw.
but yeah, we always seem to seek permission or approval from others, and it's just like, self-love, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, love yourself first, make that the most important relationship. And it's hard, especially as a parent, when their big blue eyes are looking at you. But the relationship I have with myself is my longest relationship. It's from the start of my life to the end, which, may only be in 4 years' time, according to my daughter. But,
Aw.
I think when we have a good relationship with ourselves, when we give ourselves permission, when we forgive ourselves, it just kind of has this ripple effect that we have good relationships. We set that bar quite high of how we want to be treated, what is good enough. So yeah, make yourself happy.
Woohoo! That's right.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
yourself happy. Yes, indeed. Even if you have to write happy on a t-shirt and put it on, make yourself happy.
Yeah. To tattoo it on the back of your hand so you can see it, whatever you have to do. But I don't know, so many people want to be like a victim or woe is me, and they make it their life story. And it's like, do you know what I mean? Choose positive. And I'm not belittling the fact that people have been through great traumas and things like that at all. But do you know what I mean? Just don't make one chapter of your life your entire life story of poverty and victim and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Just try and turn it around. And if you still feel miserable, okay. But I think just, give life a try. It's a privilege denied to many. I know that's my background, but, when I see people like not doing much with their life or not moving on, a little part of me inside just growls a little bit like,
Oh, man. Hey,
misery is so time consuming, isn't it? I'm just like, just try. Do you know what I mean? Try and be more positive. Try to be happier. Try and move forward. Look for the lessons, something. Just do it.
that's right. Even if it has to be on a mountain somewhere.
Indeed. With a peanut butter and jam sandwich.
That's right. That's right. And don't jam it into other cultures, right?
Yeah. And that's a really good example. You see, I tried peanut butter and jam or peanut butter and jelly. I tried new things. I didn't like it, but at least I tried, Dom.
Woo, there you go. That's
Yeah,
the
do you
good
know what I mean?
news.
I was going to say, and that's why I sleep well at night, but as we know, I don't.
Well, let's hope that gets to change soon, too.
Yes, indeed.
Woohoo! So, for the folks who may not be asleep and want to keep in touch with you, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you?
So I've got a website, which is shelleyfknight.com, and you can access all my podcasts, my articles I write, blogs, my book, and things like that. If you want a little more personal interaction, I'm over on Facebook, and that's Shelley F. Knight, Life Goes On. And as well, I'm on Instagram, Shelley F. Knight. And that's about me.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Go on out there, check out Shelley's wonderful wares. Feel free to share all of her goods and all of her writing work. She even had one of her articles posted on Thrive Global, which I forgot to mention in the introduction too. So you know she's got good stuff. That site approves it. Yes, indeed. Because if Thrive Global approves it, that means Shelley can help you thrive and be the best you ever.
Bless you.
Ah, yes, ma'am, indeed. So, any parting words to folks still listening, Shelley?
Thank you for listening. They must have real resilience listening to me to the end. It's Dom. He brings out the worst in me.
I aim to please.
No, seriously, thank you for listening. I know some of it's miserable because I talk about death, but life does go on, and I just truly wish you all the most positive changes and amazing life ahead of you.
Hey there, buddy. Looks like you made it to the end of this episode. Since you made it to the end of this episode, do both of us a favor and stop being greedy. Stop it right now and share this episode with your friends and your fellow podcast lovers, especially those who have book clubs and want to listen to the authors who write some amazing books.